Step off the plane at Kok Airport, and within minutes you'll witness something extraordinary. A woman in a Chanel suit clutching a Louis Vuitton bag steps over a homeless man sleeping against a marble pillar. This isn't a social commentary. This is just Tuesday in Hong Kong. Welcome to the most expensive city in Asia, where a McDonald's Big Mac costs $6 USD, but you can still get a full meal for $3 if you know where to look. Most travel vlogs will show you the glamorous side, those Instagram-perfect shots of Victoria Peak at sunset, the glittering skyline, the luxury shopping malls. But what happens when you strip away the tourist veneer? What if you had just $700 and 12 days to survive in one of the world's priciest cities? That's exactly what we're about to find out. Hong Kong operates on two parallel universes. There's the expat bubble where finance bros drop $200 on dinner without blinking, and then there's the local reality where families of four share 200-square-foot apartments. The question isn't whether you can visit Hong Kong on a budget. It's whether you can truly understand this city without experiencing both sides of its split personality. The challenge starts now. $700, 12 days, no safety net, no backup credit cards, no calling daddy for emergency funds. Just you, the streets of Hong Kong, and the most bewildering city-state on the planet. By the time we're done, you'll either fall in love with this concrete jungle or swear never to return. But one thing's guaranteed. You'll never look at Hong Kong the same way again. Before we talk money, let's talk geography, because understanding Hong Kong's layout is crucial to surviving here on pennies. This isn't one city. It's actually over 260 islands, and a chunk of mainland China squeezed into just 426 square miles. To put that in perspective, that's smaller than Los Angeles but houses 7.5 million people. Manhattan looks spacious in comparison. The city splits into four main areas that might as well be different countries. Hong Kong Island is where the money lives. Think Wall Street, but with better dim sum. Kowloon Peninsula is the grittier mainland chunk, packed with markets, temples, and the kind of street food that'll either cure you or kill you. The new territories stretch north toward mainland China, offering cheaper rent and actual breathing room. And then there are the outlying islands, places like Lantau and Lama Island, where time moves slower and your wallet survives longer. But here's where Hong Kong gets weird. This entire setup exists because of a 99-year lease that Britain signed with China in 1898. When 1997 rolled around, Britain had to hand back the keys, but instead of chaos, Hong Kong kept humming along under one country, two systems. The result? A city that feels simultaneously Chinese and international, where you'll hear Cantonese, Mandarin, and English in the same elevator ride. The mountains define everything here. Victoria Peak dominates Hong Kong Island at 1,111 feet, but it's not just a tourist attraction. It creates the city's weather patterns, blocks typhoons, and most importantly, for budget travelers, houses the hiking trails that provide free entertainment. These aren't gentle hills. We're talking steep, humid, jungle-like terrain that'll have you questioning your life choices within the first kilometer. Water shapes the city just as much as mountains. Victoria Harbor isn't just pretty. It's the reason Hong Kong exists. This natural deep-water port made Hong Kong the perfect trading post between East and West. Today, those same waters carry the Star Ferry, which at $0.30 USD per ride, remains the cheapest way to cross the harbor and arguably the most scenic commute on Earth. The density hits you like a physical force. We're not just talking about crowded. Hong Kong has the highest density of skyscrapers in the world. Over 500 buildings stand taller than 150 meters. When you're walking through Central District, it feels like being inside a concrete canyon where sunlight becomes a precious commodity. The city grows up because it can't grow out, creating a vertical maze that intimidates first-time visitors and confuses GPS systems. This geographic compression creates microclimates within neighborhoods. Wan Chai might be sweltering while mid-levels enjoys a breeze. Tsim Sha Tsui could be sunny while Kowloon City gets drenched. Understanding these patterns isn't just academic. It affects where you can sleep cheaply, where food stays fresh longest, and which areas become unbearable during Hong Kong's infamous summers. Waking up in Hong Kong means waking up to the sound of construction at 7 a.m. sharp. Not because they're inconsiderate, but because the city literally never stops growing upward. Your neighbors aren't just next door. They're above, below, and sometimes their kitchen window faces directly into your bedroom. Privacy is a luxury that costs extra. The morning rush reveals Hong Kong's true character. By 8 a.m., the MTR stations become human rivers flowing with surgical precision. Everyone knows exactly where they're going, how long it takes, and which train car positions them closest to their exit. Tourists stand out instantly. They are the ones checking maps while locals flow around them like water around rocks. Work culture here operates at a different intensity. The average Hong Konger works 50 hours per week, but that's just official hours. After-work obligations, business dinners, networking events, and overtime that's never called overtime easily push it past 60 hours. The phrase work-life balance gets translated into Cantonese as impossible Western concept. But here's what travel blogs never mention. Despite the grinding work schedule, community bonds run incredibly deep. Housing arrangements that would horrify Western visitors, 3 generations sharing 400 square feet, actually create intimate family networks. Grandparents raise grandchildren while parents work, creating childcare systems that would cost thousands monthly elsewhere. Food becomes the primary social glue. Hong Kongers don't just eat meals, they participate in elaborate food rituals that can last hours. A proper yum cha, dim sum breakfast, starts at 10 a.m. and does not end until tables get claimed for lunch service. Business deals, family meetings, and relationship drama all unfold over endless pots of jasmine tea and rotating bamboo steamers. The generational divide creates fascinating contradictions. Elderly Cantonese speakers who have never left Hong Kong share elevators with 20-something investment bankers who vacation in Tokyo and speak fluent Mandarin. Traditional Chinese medicine shops operate next to trendy coffee roasters. Buddhist temples receive offerings while cryptocurrency exchanges process millions in trades just blocks away. Language switching happens mid-conversation without pause. A single interaction might flow from Cantonese to English to Mandarin and back to Cantonese, depending on who enters the conversation and what topic emerges. This isn't showing off, it's survival in a city where linguistic flexibility determines economic opportunities. Shopping becomes an art form that has nothing to do with luxury brands. Wet markets operate like perfectly choreographed performances where vendors and customers negotiate prices, quality, and cooking advice in rapid-fire exchanges. These aren't tourist attractions. They're essential infrastructure where families source fresh ingredients daily because refrigerator space remains premium real estate. The concept of face influences every interaction in ways that baffle outsiders. Refusing help, appearing ungrateful, or showing financial struggle can damage relationships permanently. This creates elaborate social dances where people offer assistance indirectly and accept help without losing dignity. Understanding these unspoken rules determines whether you'll make genuine connections or remain forever a tourist. Hong Kong's food scene operates in parallel universes that rarely intersect. There's the tourist circuit with its Instagram-worthy restaurants and Michelin-starred establishments, and then there's the local ecosystem where incredible meals cost less than a Starbucks coffee. The secret is knowing which universe you're inhabiting at any given moment. Dim sum culture deserves its own sociology course. Walking into a traditional tea house at 9 a.m. reveals a complex social structure. Elderly men claim corner tables for newspaper reading sessions that last until noon. Business deals unfold over har gao and siu mai while families celebrate everything from promotions to breakups. The carts wheeling between tables aren't just serving food, they're facilitating Hong Kong's social infrastructure. But here's what guidebooks won't tell you. The best dim sum happens in places with no English menus and zero tourist presence. These neighborhood joints serve identical dishes to five-star hotels but charge 70% less. The trade-off? You'll need basic Cantonese or impressive pointing skills, and the hygiene standards might challenge your Western sensibilities. Dai Pai Dong, street food stalls, represent Hong Kong's culinary democracy. These licensed street vendors serve everything from curry fish balls to stinky tofu, operating from stalls barely larger than phone booths. A proper meal, rice, vegetables, and protein, costs between $40 or $60 USD. The portions are generous, the flavors intense, and the experience authentically local. The catch? Most close by 6 p.m., forcing you to adapt your eating schedule to local rhythms. The coffee revolution creates fascinating cultural tensions. Traditional Hong Kong-style milk tea, chaan teng coffee, competes with artisanal third-wave coffee shops that charge $6 for single-origin beans. Older generations view expensive coffee as pretentious Western nonsense, while younger Hong Kongers use coffee shops as mobile offices and dating venues. Both cultures coexist, sometimes within the same block. Chaan tengs, tea restaurants, provide the most bang for your dining dollar. These casual establishments serve Hong Kong fusion comfort food, dishes that blend Cantonese techniques with Western ingredients. A typical meal might include macaroni soup with ham, French toast stuffed with peanut butter, or milk tea that's somehow both sweet and bitter. Portions are massive, prices reasonable, and the atmosphere gloriously unpretentious. Night markets transform food into theater. Temple Street Night Market becomes a carnival of sizzling woks, shouting vendors, and food tourists willing to try anything once. The smart money avoids the touristy stalls and heads to the periphery where locals queue for clay pot rice and snake soup. Yes, snake soup. It tastes like chicken but chewier and costs about $3 per bowl. Seafood culture operates on a completely different level. Hong Kongers take their fish seriously, selecting live specimens from tanks, debating cooking methods, and sharing dishes family style. A proper seafood dinner involves multiple courses, expensive wines, and bills that can easily hit $100 per person. But knowing the system allows budget travelers to order strategically and experience the same quality for a fraction of the cost. The bakery scene provides daily sustenance that keeps locals functional. Hong Kong-style bakeries combine French techniques with Asian flavors, producing items that exist nowhere else. Pineapple buns contain no pineapple. Egg tarts arrive warm throughout the day. Red bean pastries provide portable breakfast options. Prices hover around $1 per item, making bakeries essential stops for budget-conscious travelers. Regional Chinese cuisines create neighborhoods within neighborhoods. Sichuan restaurants cluster in specific districts. Xiaolongbao specialists compete within single blocks. Hot pot establishments offer all-you-can-eat options that stretch single meals across entire evenings. Understanding these geographic concentrations helps budget travelers maximize food experiences while minimizing transportation costs. Hong Kong's dating scene operates like its financial markets. Fast-paced, internationally diverse, and completely ruthless. The city's unique demographic creates a dating ecosystem that simultaneously empowers and challenges women in ways that outsiders rarely understand. Professional women here wield unprecedented economic power. Female investment bankers, lawyers, and entrepreneurs often out-earn their male counterparts, creating relationship dynamics that challenge traditional Asian gender roles. These women aren't looking for providers. They're looking for equals who can match their ambition, international outlook, and 80-hour work weeks. But cultural expectations create impossible contradictions. Successful career women face family pressure to marry by 28, have children by 30, and somehow maintain their professional trajectory while managing traditional household duties. The result? A generation of women who've mastered corporate boardrooms but struggle to navigate family dinners where relatives question their priorities. The expat dating market operates by different rules entirely. Western men often arrive expecting Asian women to fulfill outdated stereotypes, while expat women discover that their international backgrounds make them exotic commodities in the local market. These cultural mismatches create entertainment value but rarely result in lasting relationships. Nightlife divides into distinct territories that rarely overlap. Finance bros dominate rooftop bars in Central, throwing money around like confetti while discussing cryptocurrency and complaining about mainland Chinese tourists. These venues charge $15 for cocktails and attract women who view dating as competitive sport requiring strategic planning and expensive outfits. Local nightlife scenes operate more discreetly. Karaoke bars provide social spaces where business relationships transform into personal connections. These establishments range from legitimate entertainment venues to more questionable operations that cater to specific male fantasies. Understanding the difference requires local knowledge and careful observation. Lan Kwai Fong represents Hong Kong's attempt at Western nightlife culture. This small area packs dozens of bars and clubs into narrow alleyways, creating a carnival atmosphere on weekends. Drinks are expensive, crowds are international, and the vibe feels more like a global theme park than authentic Hong Kong culture. Budget travelers quickly learn that pre-drinking at convenience stores becomes essential survival strategy. The dating app ecosystem reflects Hong Kong's international character. Tinder operates alongside local apps like Paktor and Coffee Meets Bagel, each attracting different demographics and cultural expectations. Profile photos reveal fascinating cultural codes. Professional headshots signal career focus, travel photos demonstrate international experience, and food pictures suggest domestic compatibility. Gender ratios create unique market dynamics. Hong Kong's finance-heavy economy attracts more male expats than female, creating mathematical advantages for international women, but intensifying competition among local women. These ratios shift dramatically by age group, neighborhood, and industry, making dating strategies highly location-dependent. Traditional matchmaking still thrives alongside digital dating. Professional matchmakers charge thousands of dollars to arrange introductions between suitable candidates, often focusing more on family compatibility and financial status than romantic chemistry. These services cater primarily to successful professionals who treat marriage as another business transaction requiring expert consultation. The concept of compensated dating creates moral gray areas that outsiders struggle to understand. Some young women accept gifts, dinners, and travel opportunities from older men without necessarily providing sexual services. These arrangements exist in cultural spaces that Western concepts of dating don't adequately describe. Work relationships complicate everything. Hong Kong's small professional circles mean that dating colleagues can create industry-wide gossip within days. Successful relationships require navigating not just personal compatibility, but also professional networks, family expectations, and cultural differences that seem minor but prove relationship ending. Hong Kong's spiritual calendar operates independently of its commercial calendar, creating fascinating juxtapositions where ancient rituals unfold against backdrops of glass towers and LED billboards. These festivals aren't tourist performances. They're living traditions that reveal the city's cultural soul. Chinese New Year transforms Hong Kong into something magical and slightly dangerous. For 15 days, the city's usual efficiency breaks down as millions travel home. Businesses close, and traditions take precedence over profit. The flower markets become wonderlands where families spend hours selecting the perfect kumquat trees and peach blossoms to ensure prosperity for the coming year. But here's what guidebooks won't mention. Everything becomes brutally expensive during this period, and finding accommodation or decent food requires strategic planning. The Dragon Boat Festival brings ancient competition to modern waters. Teams of paddlers race traditional boats while spectators consume pyramid-shaped rice dumplings that taste better than they look. The festival commemorates a Chinese poet who drowned himself rather than watch his country fall to corruption, a story that resonates differently in modern Hong Kong's political climate. The races happen all over the territory, but the smart money watches from free public areas rather than expensive tourist sections. Mid-Autumn Festival creates the year's most photogenic moments. Families gather to admire the full moon while sharing elaborately decorated mooncakes that cost more than most meals. Parks fill with lantern displays while children carry glowing decorations through crowded streets. The tradition celebrates family unity and harvest abundance, concepts that feel both timeless and increasingly precious in Hong Kong's fast-paced reality. Temple culture provides spiritual anchors in a materialistic society. Wong Tai Sin Temple attracts visitors seeking everything from lottery numbers to relationship advice, creating a fascinating blend of ancient superstition and modern desperation. The temple operates 24 hours daily, and watching the late-night crowd reveals Hong Kong's spiritual underbelly. Shift workers seeking luck, students praying for exam success, and business people requesting divine intervention in their deals. Fortune-telling flourishes in the most unexpected locations. Traditional practitioners set up stalls in Temple Street Night Market using face reading, palm analysis, and bird fortune-telling to provide guidance to anyone willing to pay $10–20 USD. These aren't tourist attractions. They're serious consultations where life-changing decisions receive supernatural input. The accuracy rates would surprise skeptical Westerners. Hungry Ghost Festival creates the year's spookiest atmosphere. For 1 month, spirits supposedly return to Earth seeking food and entertainment, leading families to burn elaborate paper offerings including iPhones, luxury cars, and designer handbags for deceased relatives to use in the afterlife. The burning creates thick smoke clouds that hang over the city while creating fire hazards that challenge modern safety regulations. Buddhist and Taoist traditions coexist peacefully with Christianity and other imported religions, creating a spiritual marketplace where residents shop for beliefs like they shop for dim sum. Many Hong Kongers practice multiple religions simultaneously, visiting temples for luck, churches for community, and fortune tellers for specific guidance without seeing any contradiction. The Chung Chau Bun Festival represents Hong Kong's most unique celebration. Teams compete to climb towers covered in steamed buns while crowds feast and celebrate on this outlying island. The festival combines ancient traditions with modern competitive spirit, creating events that feel both timeless and completely contemporary. Getting to Chung Chau requires ferry travel, but the experience provides insights into Hong Kong's island culture that mainland experiences can't match. Ancestral worship continues in modern apartment buildings where families maintain shrines dedicated to deceased relatives. These aren't museum pieces. They're active spiritual practices where families seek guidance, report important news, and maintain connections with previous generations. The traditions adapt to modern realities while preserving essential cultural connections. Let's talk numbers because this is where fantasy meets reality with painful precision. $700 for 12 days breaks down to roughly $58 per day, a sum that wouldn't cover a decent hotel breakfast in most international cities. In Hong Kong, this budget requires strategic thinking, cultural flexibility, and occasional desperation. Accommodation consumes the largest budget portion and offers the greatest opportunity for creative solutions. Hostels in central areas charge $25 to $40 USD per night for dormitory beds, immediately eating half your daily budget. But Hong Kong's housing crisis creates alternative opportunities. Subdivided flats, euphemistically called coffin homes, rent bed spaces for $15 to $20 USD nightly. These arrangements provide authentic local housing experiences while testing your tolerance for cramped conditions and minimal privacy. Capsule hotels offer middle ground options at $30 to $35 USD nightly, providing private sleeping spaces smaller than most Western closets but larger than coffin homes. These establishments cater primarily to Japanese tourists and local residents between apartments, creating international atmospheres where language barriers become bonding experiences. Couchsurfing networks provide free accommodation, but require social energy and cultural sensitivity. Hong Kong hosts tend to be young professionals living in expensive apartments who appreciate international perspectives and language practice opportunities. Success requires genuine cultural exchange rather than freeloading attitudes, and backup plans for nights when arrangements fall through. Transportation costs can destroy budgets or stretch them significantly depending on strategic choices. The MTR subway system operates with Swiss efficiency, but charges distance-based fares that range from $1 to $4 USD per journey. Daily travel easily costs $8 to $12 USD if you're exploring multiple districts. However, the Octopus card provides small discounts and convenience that justify the initial investment. Walking becomes essential budget strategy and accidental cultural immersion. Hong Kong's density makes many attractions accessible on foot, and the city's pedestrian infrastructure accommodates ambitious walking itineraries. The catch? Hong Kong's hills and humidity turn casual strolls into cardiovascular challenges that leave you drenched in sweat and desperately seeking air conditioning. Food expenses determine whether your budget survives or implodes. Western chain restaurants charge New York prices for mediocre quality, making them budget killers. Street food and local establishments provide identical nutrition for 60 to 70% less, but require cultural adaptation and adventurous palates. A day's meals can cost 8 USD at local places or 40 USD at tourist establishments. The difference between budget success and financial disaster. Convenience stores become lifelines for budget travelers. 7-Eleven outlets, there are over 900 in Hong Kong, sell reasonable meals, snacks, and beverages while providing free Wi-Fi and air conditioning. Learning to assemble meals from convenience store ingredients, instant noodles, fresh fruit, packaged sandwiches, provides nutrition without restaurant markup. Entertainment and activities create the trickiest budget decisions. Many of Hong Kong's best experiences cost nothing. Hiking trails, temple visits, market wandering, and harbor walking provide world-class entertainment for free. Free events and activities require research but provide authentic local experiences. Community centers host cultural performances. Universities organize public lectures, and religious institutions welcome visitors to ceremonies and festivals. These opportunities offer deeper cultural insights than paid attractions while preserving precious budget dollars. Emergency expenses can derail entire budgets. Medical emergencies, transportation disruptions, and communication needs create unexpected costs that $700 budgets can't absorb. Travel insurance becomes essential, and maintaining small emergency reserves proves wiser than spending every dollar on daily expenses. The psychological toll of extreme budgeting affects the overall experience. Constantly calculating costs, avoiding expensive areas, and declining social invitations can create isolation and resentment. Successful budget travel requires balancing financial discipline with experiential openness, occasionally splurging on experiences that justify the entire trip's hardships. Hong Kong's transportation system operates like a perfectly synchronized orchestra, where every instrument knows its part and plays without missing a beat. The MTR subway system carries over 5 million passengers daily with 99.9% on-time performance, making it more reliable than most people's alarm clocks. But understanding this system requires more than reading maps. It requires grasping the cultural rhythms that govern movement in this vertical city. The morning rush hour begins at 7 a.m. and doesn't end until 10 a.m., creating human torrents that flow through underground tunnels with military precision. Platform markings indicate exactly where train doors will open, and passengers form orderly queues that would impress German efficiency experts. Tourists who ignore these protocols get swept aside by commuter streams that show no mercy for cultural ignorance. Train cars fill according to unspoken hierarchies that reveal Hong Kong's social structure. Priority seating goes to elderly passengers and pregnant women, but middle-aged professionals often claim seats through subtle positioning and determined expressions. Students and young workers stand without complaint, using travel time for studying or mobile gaming sessions that can last entire commutes. The Octopus card transcends simple transportation payment to become an essential life tool. This stored value card works on trains, buses, trams, ferries, and even many restaurants and shops. Locals tap their cards with casual flicks of wrists honed through years of practice, while tourists fumble through wallets, causing microscopic delays that somehow disrupt entire system flows. Bus routes create a parallel transportation universe that serves areas the MTR doesn't reach. Double-decker buses navigate impossibly narrow streets while passengers cling to handholds during turns that challenge physics. These routes cost less than trains, but require local knowledge to navigate systems where English announcements are rare and route maps assume familiarity with neighborhood names that tourists couldn't pronounce correctly if their lives depended on it. The Star Ferry provides the most romantic transportation in Hong Kong at prices that budget travelers can actually afford. These green and white ferries have crossed Victoria Harbour since 1888. Offering harbor views that rival expensive tourist cruises for just $0.30 USD. The journey takes 8 minutes but provides photographic opportunities worth hours of entertainment. Trams operate exclusively on Hong Kong Island, providing slow-motion tours through neighborhoods that change character every few blocks. These double-decker streetcars lumber along at walking pace, making them impractical for urgent travel but perfect for budget sightseeing. Routes run from east to west across the island, offering window views of local life that buses and trains can't match. Minibuses, public light buses, serve as Hong Kong's transportation wild cards. These 16-seat vehicles operate on flexible routes with drivers who interpret traffic laws as suggestions rather than requirements. Rides cost $2 to $4 USD, but require nerve-steadying experiences as drivers navigate congested streets at speeds that seem physically impossible for vehicles of their size. Taxis exist in 3 color categories that determine their operating territories and pricing structures. Red taxis serve Hong Kong Island and Kowloon. Green taxis operate in the New Territories, and blue taxis cover Lantau Island. Base fares start around $3 USD, but traffic congestion and tunnel tolls can inflate costs dramatically. Budget travelers quickly learn that taxi rides should be reserved for emergencies or late-night situations when public transport stops operating. Walking infrastructure accommodates the millions of daily pedestrians through elevated walkway systems that create air-conditioned highways above street level. These climate-controlled passages connect major buildings and transportation hubs, allowing pedestrians to travel significant distances without experiencing Hong Kong's challenging weather. Learning these routes provides free entertainment and essential survival skills during summer heat waves. The Airport Express train offers the fastest connection between the airport and central Hong Kong, completing the journey in 24 minutes for $12 USD. However, budget travelers often choose airport bus routes that take longer but cost less than half the train fare. The trade-off involves 45 to 60-minute journeys through traffic that can test patience and punctuality requirements. Hong Kong's attractions operate on a dual economy where expensive tourist experiences compete with free alternatives that often provide superior, authentic experiences. The key lies in understanding which attractions justify their costs and which ones take advantage of uninformed visitors willing to pay premium prices for mediocre experiences. Victoria Peak remains Hong Kong's most famous attraction for legitimate reasons. The views genuinely spectacular and the experience memorable. However, the Peak Tram charges $15 USD for a 3-minute ride up a mountain that dedicated hikers can climb for free. The hiking route takes 45 to 60 minutes through jungle-like terrain that provides exercise, solitude, and gradually improving views that make the summit more rewarding than the tourist-packed tram station. The Big Buddha on Lantau Island creates similar cost versus experience decisions. The Nong Ping cable car charges $25 USD for scenic rides to reach the statue, but public buses make the same journey for $2 USD with equally impressive mountain views. The statue itself is free to visit, and the surrounding monasteries provide cultural experiences that cable car passengers often miss in their rush to take selfies. Temple Street Night Market provides free entertainment that rivals expensive cultural shows. This outdoor market transforms ordinary streets into carnival-like atmospheres where fortune tellers, street food vendors, and knockoff goods create sensory overload experiences. The market operates from sunset to midnight, providing evening entertainment that costs nothing unless you choose to purchase food or souvenirs. Hong Kong's hiking trails offer world-class outdoor experiences that most visitors never discover. The Dragon's Back Trail provides coastal views that rival expensive boat tours, while the hiking infrastructure includes well-maintained paths, distance markers, and emergency facilities. These trails are completely free and offer escape from the city's density and noise pollution. The outlying islands create budget-friendly day trip opportunities that provide cultural diversity within Hong Kong's borders. Lama Island offers seafood restaurants and beaches accessible via $3 USD ferry rides. Chung Chau Island provides traditional fishing village atmospheres and local festivals that showcase Hong Kong's cultural heritage beyond the urban environment. Museums operate on schedules that provide free admission opportunities for budget-conscious travelers. Many institutions offer free entry on specific days or during certain hours, allowing access to world-class collections without admission fees. The Hong Kong Museum of History and the Hong Kong Heritage Museum provide comprehensive cultural education that contextualizes the city's development and traditions. Markets function as both shopping opportunities and cultural attractions. Wet markets provide authentic local experiences where vendors sell live seafood, tropical fruits, and ingredients that most Western visitors have never encountered. These markets operate as community gathering spaces where social interactions and cultural observations cost nothing but provide invaluable insights into daily Hong Kong life. The Harbor Promenade extends for miles along both sides of Victoria Harbor, providing free walking routes with constantly changing urban scenery. The Tsim Sha Tsui Promenade offers classic skyline views, while the Central Harborfront provides different perspectives of the same architecture. These walks cost nothing and operate 24 hours daily, accommodating any schedule or budget constraint. Religious sites welcome visitors regardless of their spiritual beliefs or financial situations. Man Mo Temple, Wong Tai Sin Temple, and Chi Lin Nunnery provide architectural beauty, cultural education, and peaceful environments that contrast sharply with the city's commercial atmosphere. These locations often host festivals and ceremonies that provide authentic cultural experiences. Beaches exist within Hong Kong's borders, surprising visitors who associate the territory exclusively with urban environments. Repulse Bay and Deep Water Bay offer swimming and sunbathing opportunities accessible via public transportation, while more remote beaches like Tai Long Wan require hiking but provide pristine environments with minimal development. Hong Kong consistently ranks among the world's safest cities, but this safety comes with cultural expectations and systems that operate differently from Western norms. Understanding these differences prevents problems and helps budget travelers navigate potential issues without expensive mistakes. Personal safety rarely concerns visitors due to Hong Kong's low crime rates and extensive surveillance systems. Violent crime against tourists is virtually non-existent, and petty theft occurs less frequently than in most international cities. However, political demonstrations and civil unrest have created new safety considerations that require awareness of current events and crowd management strategies. The healthcare system provides world-class medical care through both public and private sectors, but costs vary dramatically depending on which system visitors access. Public hospitals provide emergency care to everyone regardless of citizenship or ability to pay, but non-residents face significant charges for non-emergency services. Travel insurance becomes essential for anything beyond basic first aid. Emergency services operate efficiently with multilingual capabilities, but understanding the system prevents confusion during crisis situations. The emergency number, 999, connects callers to police, fire, and ambulance services with operators who speak Cantonese, Mandarin, and English. However, providing clear location information requires knowledge of local address systems that differ from Western conventions. Pharmaceutical systems allow over-the-counter access to medications that require prescriptions in other countries, but language barriers and different brand names create potential confusion. Many pharmacists speak English, and major chains like Watson's operate throughout the territory with standardized procedures and international medication selections. Mental health services exist but operate within cultural frameworks that may not align with Western expectations. Stress, anxiety, and depression are often viewed as personal weaknesses rather than medical conditions requiring professional treatment. Budget travelers experiencing mental health challenges may find more success seeking help through international organizations or expat community resources. The education system creates cultural pressures that affect family dynamics and social interactions throughout Hong Kong society. Students face intense academic competition that begins in primary school and continues through university entrance examinations. This pressure creates family stress that visitors observe but may not understand without cultural context. Tutoring culture operates as a parallel education system, where families spend significant portions of their income on supplementary instruction. Children often attend regular school, followed by hours of private tutoring, creating schedules that would exhaust adult professionals. This system affects family life, social dynamics, and economic priorities in ways that surprise international visitors. Language barriers create safety considerations beyond simple communication difficulties. Medical emergencies, legal problems, and transportation issues become more complex when language differences prevent clear communication. Learning basic Cantonese phrases or carrying translation apps provides safety margins that could prove essential during crisis situations. Legal systems operate under one country, two systems, frameworks that maintain differences from mainland Chinese law while incorporating elements that differ from Western legal traditions. Visitors should understand that certain political expressions, drug possession, and public behavior violations can result in serious legal consequences that differ significantly from home country expectations. Water safety concerns primarily involve swimming conditions rather than drinking water quality. Hong Kong's beaches and swimming areas experience pollution levels that vary dramatically based on weather, tides, and industrial activities. Tap water meets international safety standards, but many residents prefer boiled or filtered water due to taste preferences rather than safety concerns. Hong Kong's visa policies reflect its unique political status and international character, creating entry requirements that differ significantly from both mainland China and typical international destinations. Understanding these rules prevents expensive mistakes and ensures legal compliance throughout your visit. Most Western passport holders receive visa-free entry for periods ranging from 7 to 180 days depending on nationality. U.S. citizens get 90 days, UK citizens receive 180 days, while EU citizens typically get 90 days. However, these allowances come with restrictions on employment, study, and long-term residence that visitors must respect to avoid legal complications. Overstaying penalties escalate quickly and can result in deportation, entry bans, and significant financial penalties. Immigration officers have broad discretionary powers and can deny entry based on insufficient funds, unclear travel purposes, or suspicion of illegal work intentions. Carrying evidence of onward travel, accommodation bookings, and financial resources helps establish legitimate tourist status. Mainland China requires separate visa arrangements despite Hong Kong's political relationship with Beijing. Travelers planning to visit both territories must obtain Chinese visas in advance, as Hong Kong's visa-free status doesn't extend to mainland border crossings. Same-day visa services exist in Hong Kong but cost significantly more than advance applications. Work visa requirements create complex legal territories that many visitors inadvertently violate. Any activity that generates income, including freelance work, online business activities, and even volunteer work for some organizations, requires appropriate work authorization. Digital nomads and remote workers operate in legal gray areas that could result in deportation if discovered. Student visa applications require institutional sponsorship and significant financial guarantees. Language schools, universities, and training programs must provide official documentation before student visas can be processed. These applications typically require 4 to 6 weeks processing time and substantial financial evidence. Currency regulations allow visitors to carry any amount of Hong Kong dollars or foreign currency without declaration requirements. However, mainland China imposes strict currency controls that affect cross-border travel. Credit cards work universally, but cash remains preferred for many local businesses and street food vendors. Accommodation registration requirements mandate that visitors staying in unlicensed guest houses or private homes could face legal complications. Licensed hotels automatically handle registration requirements, but alternative accommodation arrangements may require manual registration with immigration authorities within 24 hours of arrival. Cultural etiquette affects interactions with authorities and local residents in ways that can influence official treatment and social acceptance. Understanding concepts like face, appropriate greeting customs, and business card protocols helps establish positive relationships that could prove valuable during problem-solving situations. Insurance requirements aren't legally mandated, but become practically essential due to Hong Kong's high medical costs and potential emergency expenses. Comprehensive travel insurance should cover medical emergencies, trip cancellations, and emergency evacuation services that could cost thousands of dollars without coverage. Banking services accommodate short-term visitors through tourist-friendly procedures, but long-term financial services require extensive documentation and minimum deposits. Opening local bank accounts typically requires proof of local address, employment verification, and substantial initial deposits that make them impractical for budget travelers. Communication services operate on multiple networks with varying coverage quality and international roaming charges. Local SIM cards provide significant cost savings for extended stays, but require passport identification and registration procedures that take time to complete. Wi-Fi access is widely available in public areas, hotels, and restaurants throughout the territory. Standing on the Star Ferry as it crosses Victoria Harbour one final time, watching the glittering skyline reflect off dark waters, you realize that Hong Kong has played tricks on your perceptions from the very beginning. This isn't just a city. It's a social experiment where East meets West meets economic reality, meets cultural tradition in ways that create something entirely unique on the planet. The $700 budget challenge revealed truths that no luxury travel experience could provide. Surviving on tight finances forced interactions with local systems, authentic neighborhoods, and cultural practices that remain invisible to visitors who insulate themselves with expensive hotels and tourist-focused restaurants. The discomfort and limitations actually provided deeper cultural access than unlimited budgets could purchase. Hong Kong's dual personality becomes clear only when experienced from ground level. The gleaming towers and international brands create surface impressions that hide complex communities where multiple generations share tiny apartments, where ancient traditions adapt to modern realities, and where global finance coexists with neighborhood wet markets selling live chickens and fortune-telling services. The speed and intensity that initially overwhelm visitors eventually reveal themselves as adaptive strategies rather than cultural flaws. Hong Kongers move fast because time is literally money in a city where rent costs consume 40 to 50% of average incomes. They eat efficiently because lunch breaks are brief and distances are significant. They speak multiple languages because economic survival requires international communication skills. But underneath the efficiency and commercialism lies something surprisingly warm and community-oriented. The elderly man who helped navigate MTR transfers without speaking common languages. The street food vendor who provided extra portions when she noticed tourist confusion. The family who shared festival traditions with curious strangers. These interactions happen constantly but require slowing down enough to notice them. The housing crisis that creates coffin homes and subdivided flats isn't just an economic problem. It's reshaping family structures, social relationships, and cultural practices in real time. Watching families adapt traditional customs to modern constraints provides insights into human resilience and cultural flexibility that no museum exhibit could replicate. Food culture operates as Hong Kong's universal language, transcending economic classes, cultural backgrounds, and linguistic barriers. Sharing dim sum tables with strangers, navigating night market stalls, and discovering neighborhood bakeries provide social connections that expensive restaurants actively prevent through their exclusive atmospheres and formal service protocols. The transportation system deserves recognition as genuine urban achievement that could teach lessons to cities worldwide. The integration of trains, buses, trams, and ferries creates mobility options that make car ownership unnecessary while providing access to diverse neighborhoods and experiences. This infrastructure enables the budget travel strategies that make Hong Kong accessible to visitors with limited financial resources. Hong Kong challenges assumptions about Asian cities, international finance centers, and cultural preservation in ways that leave visitors questioning their preconceptions about globalization, economic development, and cultural identity. This territory maintains distinct character while adapting to international pressures, creating models for urban development that other cities study and attempt to replicate. The experience ends, but the questions linger. Can other cities achieve Hong Kong's efficiency without sacrificing livability? How do communities preserve traditions while adapting to economic necessities? What happens when global finance meets local culture in spaces where both must coexist? Whether you leave Hong Kong energized by its possibilities or exhausted by its demands depends largely on your willingness to adapt to local rhythms rather than imposing external expectations. The city rewards flexibility, curiosity, and cultural sensitivity while punishing rigidity, impatience, and cultural superiority. The $700 budget forced creative problem-solving, cultural adaptation, and authentic interactions that luxury travel experiences actively avoid. These challenges created memories and insights that expensive comfort couldn't purchase, proving that financial limitations can become gateways to deeper cultural understanding rather than barriers to meaningful travel experiences. Hong Kong succeeds by being simultaneously local and international, traditional and modern, efficient and chaotic. These contradictions aren't problems to solve. They're features that make the territory unique and endlessly fascinating. Understanding this complexity requires time, patience, and willingness to experience the city on its own terms rather than expecting it to conform to outside expectations. The real Hong Kong exists in the spaces between extremes, between luxury and poverty, tradition and modernity, east and west. Finding these spaces requires leaving comfort zones, engaging with local communities, and accepting that authentic travel experiences often involve discomfort, confusion, and cultural challenges that growth-oriented travelers learn to value rather than avoid. If this exploration has sparked your curiosity about Hong Kong's hidden layers, consider planning your own budget adventure. But remember, the goal isn't to survive on minimal money just to prove it's possible. The goal is to use financial constraints as tools for cultural discovery, authentic interaction, and personal growth that conventional tourism rarely provides. Comment below if you'd attempt the $700 challenge yourself, and don't forget to hit that like button If this behind-the-scenes look at Hong Kong's dual personality opened your eyes to travel possibilities you'd never considered. Subscribe for more authentic travel experiences that go beyond surface-level tourism to reveal the complex realities of the world's most fascinating destinations. The adventure does not end when you leave Hong Kong. It begins when you realize that every city contains multiple layers of reality waiting for travelers brave enough to look beyond the tourist veneer and engage with authentic local life. The question isn't whether you can afford to visit Hong Kong. It's whether you can afford to miss the cultural education that only authentic travel experiences provide.